Hey, so in this video I'm going to tell you the very first step you need to take to get started with the wholesale route when selling on Amazon. Now, if you're looking at the page that I'm on and you're thinking, hold on a minute, I've already been through this step. I've actually been doing OA for, I know, a couple of years now, and I'm looking at the prospects of wholesale. So this video isn't for me. Actually, it is still very much for you, because later on in this video, I'm going to be talking about the kind of budget you should have, the kind of capital you should have to start with wholesale, and then give you ideas of things that you'll need yourself besides what I'm about to talk about, that you may already have, but you may need to think about, upping the quantity. There might be things that you didn't know that you needed and so forth. So this is what I'm going to talk about later on in this video. But for starters, if you do not already have one, you need an Amazon Seller Central account. Otherwise, you can't sell on Amazon. So it makes absolute 100% sense. And when you get started, there are two different plans that you can choose from. So there's the individual selling plan or the professional selling plan. And I know that this guide is from Amazon.com. It's the only guide like this that I could find, unless I've been absolutely blind when looking this up. But I'll translate this into UK terms for you. So $39.99 per month for the professional plan is around about £30 a month-ish. So yeah, £30 per month. And I would strongly urge you to go for the pro account. Even if you are just getting started out, go for the pro account, because trust me, you will need it. If you go for the individual plan, you will be upgrading to the pro plan in absolutely no time at all. Like, if you have a bit of success and if you're actually truly looking to scale, you need the pro plan, and this puts you on the same platform as pretty much every other seller on Amazon. So the pro account is an absolute no-brainer. It also means that you're not limited on, how many items you sell either. So just a lot of perks to that. And especially if you're doing wholesale, a pro account just makes sense. So obviously you'll pay X amount per month. And then of course, with selling on Amazon, there's things like referral fees. If you do FBA, there's FBA fees and such. So just be aware of that. But those are the plans. When you set up a Seller Central account, it's important that you have a bank account and routing number, internationally chargeable credit card, government issued ID, tax information, and phone number. Those are essential to setting up a Seller Central account. If any of those are missing, if you're brand new to this business, I'd heavily advise that you get all of these things set up and in check, and then proceed to set up your Seller Central account. So from then on, actually, if you wanted to follow this guide, it gives you all the ins and outs of basically getting started with selling on Amazon in general. There's a bunch of videos and guides on here, so this is quite a useful document. So yeah, that's just basically getting ready to sell on Amazon, getting started. But you need a Seller Central account. That is how we get the ball rolling. Now, in terms of a budget, how much exactly you're going to need to start with wholesale, if you ask sellers that do wholesale, you may get different answers. And fortunately for you, I do talk to lots of sellers. If you're not familiar with it, on the BuyBotPro YouTube channel, there is the Amazon Seller Journey series, which I run, whereby I have guests on who are Amazon sellers who you'll recognize from platforms like TikTok and YouTube. And I basically talk to them about their journeys. All of them are completely different, which reinforces what I say quite frequently in a lot of videos. Amazon is a great business path because there's a lot of freedom to it. You can choose how exactly you want to sell, and even if you're choosing the same method, the ways that you go around it is going to be a bit different to what everyone else does. And so that's what I love about these seller journey interviews, which I'll actually just show you now. So it's these things right here on the BuyBotPro channel, and they are actually all in a playlist for you. I don't know how many guests I've had so far. I guess around 15, it's just said there. So at the point of recording this, there's been 15 guests, all of which have got different stories. There's a number of them that do talk about wholesale as well, so I'd recommend checking those videos out too. Ultimately, they're really handy regardless of whatever route you go down, regardless of where you are in your journey. You might be a beginner, you might consider yourself to be advanced, but these Amazon Seller Journey sessions are really, really useful. And so yeah, I'd heavily recommend that you check them out. There's a bunch of talk about wholesale in there as well. But anyway, in terms of the budget that you need for starting out with wholesale, as I say, you'll get slightly different answers from whoever you ask. People start with different budgets. People have different ideas of what's considered a good starting budget. But ultimately, if you want to get started with wholesale, the general kind of pricing that people give you, the general amount that you need as your stock capital to get started, is around about £1,000. Now, this is why wholesale is something whereby if you are a beginner, if you're looking to get started with selling on Amazon, and you are thinking about wholesale as your route to go down when you get started initially, it may take more saving before you then make the leap to start selling on Amazon. If you are already selling on Amazon, continue doing whatever method you're currently doing until you've saved up enough and you've set enough aside to get started with wholesale, because it does require a bigger initial investment. So around about £1,000 should see you nicely to getting started. And then of course, as you know, regardless of whatever path you choose, always put more into your start capital to grow the quantities that you can buy, the amount of products that you can buy, like the different sorts. Always put back into your stock capital just to keep growing that out, because that just means more success for your business. So around about £1,000 is a good starting point. Okay. Besides that, you'll need various equipment and materials to help you get started as well, unless of course you have a prep center, and we're going to talk about prep centers in an upcoming video to truly tell you what that prospect is and how much they can really help and change your business for the better. They can really help you out. But if you are doing all of the prep work yourself, you need to think about if you have a good thermal label printer, if you have all the various prep materials you're going to need. Maybe it's worth considering hiring hands to help you with the prep, because with wholesale, obviously, you'll be getting pallets of, however many of this product and this product and this product. So you might need some help with prep, because there's going to be a lot of it to do. And this is why a lot of people that do go down the wholesale route end up going for a prep center, because it just makes sense. So that way prep isn't something you have to worry about. You can put more time and effort into your sourcing process, into setting up things for repricing and so forth, and you leave all of that prep work, and there's going to be a lot of it for the prep center, and they'll do all of that for you. But if you are doing it yourself, if you've got hands to help you, then a good thermal label printer. And if you're looking for a recommendation, this is a good one if you are getting started out. There's of course lots of different label printers out there on the market. People will give you different recommendations, but if you are starting out, you're looking for a good beginner one, I guess this Vretti one is a good starting point. But of course, you might look to get a bigger one if as you scale and so forth. And of course, other people might have different recommendations. And of course, if you yourself are watching this and you have a recommendation for a good label printer, drop that in the comments and it will help everyone out who watches this. But yeah, that's a good starting point. And of course, with things like bubble wrap boxes, poly wrap, things like that, you'll need bigger quantities of that. So think about where you're getting that from as well. It might be that you get them from the wholesalers that you're ordering from too. But yeah, boxes, bubble wrap, poly bags, all sorts, everything you need. You'll need bigger quantities of that. You'll also actually need a space for that. With OA, with retail arbitrage, because of course you're not buying such big bulk, you can do it from your garage or a spare room or something like that. But with wholesale, because you're obviously getting more and more in, you might need a bigger space to do all of that stuff. Because you'll need a form of like prep bench. If you've got people with you, then it might be that they need a bench as well or something. I'm not talking about like a whole big warehouse unit, though. Of course, if that's the route that you want to go down, and eventually one day you want your own kind of like warehouse to do all this stuff, then that's the route you're going to go down. But ultimately, if you're not looking to get into that, then you will need a bigger space to do all of this prep, because there's going to be more materials, more items, and so that's what you need to prepare for. But then, of course, again, this is where I talk about prep centers and how much they can really help you out with like store with the amount of space that you dedicate to something, with the amount of prep materials you actually need. And in effect, you basically wouldn't need any if you give it all to a prep center, if you give that task to a prep center. But again, I'm going to talk about this in an upcoming video, but that's just to give you an idea of how to get the ball rolling. So next up, we're going to be talking about finding wholesale suppliers. Catch you in the next video.